Cricket et al. It's a website. It's a podcast.
Pete, it's a way of life. It's Gideon Haig over here.
Peter Lawler over here.
And welcome to Cricket et al., your independent cricket podcast. We're on opposite sides of the world, about as far away from each other as it's possible. We feel so close, don't we? We feel so close. Two cheeks of the same arse, Pete. So tell us about where you are, Pete. You're in Kingston.
I'm in Kingston, Jamaica. Kingston, Jamaica, Gideon. Everyone says don't go to Jamaica. I'm not going to add to that advice, but it's a little bit of a rude shock after Grenada. It's kind of like the Ranchy of the Caribbean. It's urban. It's hot. It's just a bit charmless, shall I say. I'm uptown. I went to the shop. I wandered up to the marketplace today, despite all the warnings not to wander around. I'm sure you can during the day. And was served through a cage when I tried to buy some deodorant and hair oil. I tell you what, after a week on the beach, it's a bit difficult to get used to. Oh, Sue's calling. Gideon, hang on a second. I'll tell her I'm potting and I'll call her back. Yep. Sue, I'm potting. I'm going to have to call you back.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Okay, bye. Sorry about that. It's very professional, isn't it? Yeah. How many times have we done this podcast?
Have we remembered to turn on record?
Yeah, I hope so. Where was I at? Oh, yeah. I'm trying not to be too many. There's not a lot to do. There's not many places to go. You've got to be a bit careful. As I said, I'm uptown. I'm advised not to go downtown, especially not at night, but I probably will go down at some point. I did go to the Bob Marley Museum. I've written about that today. I've published that the what's it called? The Cricket et al. Substack, website, life experience.
cricketetal.com. Yep.
That was kind of interesting. I found out that, I don't know if you've seen the piece, but I found this blue Land Rover out the back of the house, and it was in very pristine Series 3 Land Rover, the little two-door original ones, the Utes. And I remember this story. So I took a picture of it and I sent it back to Michael Holding, because Michael Holding told me this story that one day he was in Jamaica. Because I asked him if he'd met Bob Marley. He said, I was in Jamaica one day, pulled up at the lights, looked at the car next to me, and it was Bob Marley, of all people, looking really cool at the wheel of his car. Yeah. Mikey gives him the g'day, Bob. And Bob says, hello, Michael. Michael told me this story 40 years later with all the excitement in his voice of a young boy. He says, he knew my name, man. Bob Marley knew my name. Wow. So that was his only ever encounter with Marley. So I sent the picture to mate, to Michael Holding, and said, was he driving the Series 3 when you saw him? He said, no, he was in a blue BMW, which I thought was a bit strange. But then I endured the Bob Marley the tour of the Bob Marley house up on Hope Road. Yeah, it's not exactly our sort of museum tour, I have to say, Gideon. Have you ever been on a museum tour where they insist that you sing along? The guy, one thing I did glean from the sing along / tour was that Bob Marley preferred a BMW because he loved the initials of the BMW. He thought he said it stood for Bob Marley and the Wailers. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So I did a bit of research and I thought, that's just too shiny, that car. And I found out that actually Land Rover had 10 years ago taken the old battered thing and restored it to pristine condition. But it looks much better before restoration, I've got to say. Right. It looked like the kind of car that Bob would drive to soccer training. One of the cool things in the museum was his soccer shorts. They were cut off knee-length woolen army pants. The button-up variety. That came from the Second World War. Yep. That's what he played soccer in. Right. So, so
he had an affinity for cricket, Bob Marley. Is that manifested?
No, I don't think he did at all. He was he played soccer. Yeah, I'm not sure that he had any affinity for cricket.
But he knew Michael Holding. Well, you knew another great Jamaican, I guess.
Another great Jamaican. I think in those days, the Jamaicans were pretty pretty proud of the cricketers that they were producing. You know, Courtney and Michael. And actually, today I was at the ground. I was at the Kensington Cricket Club today, waiting for lunch. I think it'll show up soon. If anyone sees my beef stew, bring it up here, would you? And I found this. I found a what do you call it? An accreditation on the ground. So I picked it up as some bloke, James Adams, and I thought, oh yeah, James Adams. And I looked up. Oh yeah, that's him there. And I went over and said, hey mate, you look like this bloke, James Adams. And then I looked at him in the flesh. Jimmy Adams. Jimmy Adams. So had a bit of a chat to him. He'd never met Bob Marley. He was 13 when Bob died.
Yeah, right. I like that he goes by James. Did he become James when he retired?
Don't know. It threw me. Like, I just looked at the name and didn't really think anything of it until I looked at his face. Very skinny. Gee, he was a good cricketer too, wasn't he?
Yeah, good cricketer. Good, solid
cricketer. Yeah. But anyway,
the Jimmy Adams now, couldn't they?
Yeah. The exciting news for fans of the pink ball test is that they've tested the lights. The Prime Minister was on TV last night boasting that the lights work. That they're going to finish. They're going to finish the video scoreboard today.
Yes. Yep.
Well, something else they're installing today that I can't quite recall. I heard somebody talking about, but looks like the ground will be ready to go tomorrow. And they're urging everybody to get along. But let's wait and see, because the locals have not shown a lot of interest in the cricket thus far.
Okay.
Well, and they're 2-0 down, mate. Yeah.
It's good news that they've found some pink balls, because wasn't there an issue about the Aussies finding enough pink balls to train with?
Yes, there was. In fact, they were first introduced to the Duke's pink ball 2 days ago. They were given a box of brand new Duke's pink balls.
Right.
The bowlers didn't even bother bowling with them in the net session that night. The batters had a session just to check out the lights and things. Yeah. And I don't know why the bowlers didn't bowl. But Mitch Starc had a bat, but he said that members of the top six were predicting a 2-day test with the way the ball was behaving and the way the pitch was.
And the way that they're batting too, I guess.
Yeah, the way that everybody's batting at the moment. Cummins said today they don't feel as sort of plastic and hard as the Kookaburra variety. But he said, look, I don't know nothing about them. I've bowled 20 deliveries with them. And
it would be the first night test that we've played with anything other than a Kookaburra.
Australia, yeah. Have we played has Australia played a day-night test overseas?
I don't think they have.
I don't think they have either. I think they've hosted a lot of them, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's they did a bit of training on the ground. I said there are two sort of corners of the ground. They're a little bit dark, but not too bad. Yeah, right. Nothing that you'll worry about in those circumstances. But maybe, I mean, they've got to try it, don't they? Maybe, I think in these sorts of temperatures that you get here during the day, it's quite hot. It's about 35 degrees during the day, and there's not much escape from it. Maybe it's better to come to the cricket at night and see how it goes. Don't know. But the Aussies are very confused. Like they've had their final alternative training session today. A few of them showed up, but they still haven't named a side.
Yeah.
What do you reckon that they'd be considering if it's spicy like that?
Well, they're obviously not going to play a second spinner, are they?
No, and I think the thought was, are they going to drop Lyon and play another seamer? But to me, I'm thinking if the conditions are conducive to taking wickets, you don't need to load up on bowling, do you? Perhaps you increase your batting depth and rely on skinnier bowling. Hey, maybe Mitchell Starc won't play his 100th test match. I look forward to that. I remember Elisa Healy coming onto my radar when they denied him that Boxing Day test very early in his career.
Yeah.
2012. And she went on social media, didn't she? And she sort of blew up about denying somebody their childhood dream of playing in a Boxing Day test, because that was when they had the rest and rotation.
Yeah.
Shall we ever hear those words again?
Mitchell Johnson bowled like the wind, didn't he?
Yeah. And I thought, geez, I like that Healy girl. She's got a bit of character out there fighting for her bloke.
Yeah.
Anyway, he got to play a few after that. And ironically, he got to play a few pink ball tests too.
So I guess we should have a talk about Starkey, because we've both written about him this week. How should we approach him? Now, it's always hard to get the measure of a cricketer while they're still playing, but I think it's obvious that his record places him up there in the pantheon of great Australian Test fast bowlers. I think one of the things that actually impairs our appreciation of Stark is that he's such a good white ball bowler, that he's actually judged by his standards in white ball cricket. And he's not been as dominant in Test cricket as he has been as a white ball bowler. So people get a bit distracted. I think if he'd never bowled a single white ball in a short form game, he would still be a great Test bowler. I mean, he's had sufficient great days out to justify his place. And I think this, for a guy whose action is as dramatic and whose physicality is as extreme as Stark's, he's got an incredible fitness record. Most bowlers, Hazelwood and Cummins included, have had quite long periods out where they've had to almost completely rebuild their physiques. Mitchell Johnson had a big break in his career. Stark has never had that long a break. I think he missed the 2013-14 season, didn't he? But I can't remember him really having a protracted spell out of Test calculations in all that time. And, of course, 99 Test matches, you've got to be playing most Test matches in order to accumulate that number.
Yeah, it's interesting. He had a few, like niggles early, didn't he? He snapped the foot in that Adelaide Test, didn't he? Left him a bowler down early on. But, yeah, his endurance and his fitness is next level, particularly when you talk about that dramatic action, but it's almost like a sort of jackhammer, sort of jackboot landing on the pitch that he has, and he's very conscious of his landing positions when he plays cricket. I think one of the reasons we're slow to appreciate Mitchell is that it was a gradual progression toward the bowler we know today. It did take him quite some time. I mean, let's not, 2000 up until around 2015, they weren't that keen on him. There were those Ashes tours where he played one test.
Well, 2019, as late as 2019.
As late as 2019. And to a degree, there were good reasons, I think, and he admits that early in his career, he had the initial swing and he had the reverse swing, but he didn't have everything else. And I think you remember watching a lot of cricket where in the middle overs, Mitchell Starc was ineffective. He couldn't take wickets. He's a very different bowler now. He has got the full skill set. He calls them, he's got all the tools. He's developed the wobble seam. Everyone loves the wobble seam these days, but, and the intelligence, but just the ability to keep turning up. And when you think that only, and I say of Australian bowlers because you look at English bowlers and Broad and Anderson played 160, 170 tests, something like that. But only Glenn McGrath has played 100 tests in Australia. And I think it's significant that Australian conditions are so harsh on fast bowlers. McGrath was always said to have got to 100 tests because, he was light on his feet. He sort of, he crept through the delivery stride. Stark, far from that. He is anything but light on his feet. I love the way he plays cricket. One
of the reasons why Anderson and Broad were able to play so much Test cricket is because they played so little white ball cricket in the back half of their career. Now, Stark's been a first pick in all Australian sides during the course of his career. That's an amazing record.
Sure, I guess, isn't it? Yeah.
As you talk about his gradual emergence, I guess he didn't have those definitional achievements early in his career. Like he didn't have a debut like Pat Cummins's, did he? He didn't have the immediate impact of a Josh Hazelwood.
Right.
And in fact, his best performances have kind of crept up on us. And sometimes they've actually taken place, in the shadow of defeat. Stark in 2016 in Sri Lanka, Stark in 2023. Australia only drew that Ashes, but Starc was absolutely outstanding. Was he player of the series, I think, for Australia in that series?
Yeah, he took the most wickets, and and they didn't play the first test. Remember? Yeah.
Day in, day out, absolutely fantastic bowler.
Yeah. Cummins spoke about him today, and he said that he was emerging from you got to do your cool down, you got to have your physio, your body, your body's delicate, and you've really got to look after it. And he came back into the side, and Cummins and Hazelwood were just going about their business and just bowling 20 overs a day. Having a cold shower, turning around and doing it again, never complaining. Not the first people into the medical rooms or for the rub down. They just get on with it. And Starc's a very shy guy.
Yeah.
He genuinely does not like the attention around this test match. I think this is, in one way, this is ideal for him. It's off Broadway. He'll go back to Australia and no one will be looking at him. Yesterday, it was quite uncomfortable for him talking about himself and his achievements. He warmed up to it, but he kept deflecting. He did note that it was ironic that it's a pink ball test, because I think few bowlers have ever been complained more about pink ball cricket than Mitchell Starc. That kind of tells you something about him too. But I said this about him, and I think I've said this about Josh Hazelwood in the past. You feel like you're talking to a farmer leaning on a post when you talk to them. They're not really up for talking much, Fast bowling's just something you do, not something you talk about. Yeah. You go out there and, you saw it, top of off, or, I did this, I did that. It's not that hard, they're very understated in their manner, aren't they? And he's very understated in his celebrations, in his appeals, in those occasional times that the red mist descends, which doesn't happen that often now.
It doesn't happen often. No. Yeah, I think I said that in my piece last week, that it is kind of appropriate that he should. You often used to feel as though somewhere, somehow, somewhere in the world, Mitchell Starc is taking a new ball. He's just one of those guys who just keeps rolling along. He's played his 99 test matches on 38 different grounds, which I think is an amazing stat. 2015 he played in the Sabina Park Test. Earlier this year he went to Sri Lanka when Hazelwood and Cummins did not. He's the guy who you ink in. You don't just pencil him in. He's going to be available. Yeah. What's your favourite Starc moment, Pete?
Before I get to that, I want to point out one more thing, because I'll forget it if I get distracted. It's that commitment. While we think of him as an all-format player, and his early years were sustained by being a white ball player, he said that once he got the hang of Test cricket around 2015, and once he felt like he was a Test cricketer. That's all he really wanted to do, and he would sacrifice anything to be a Test match player. Right. Hence, all those IPLs he did not play. Yes. All that money that he has not put in the bank. It's between $10 and $20 million that Mitchell Starc has ignored because sacrifice is a good word, even better word, Gideon. Just because Test match cricket is the main game to him. Yeah, he works so hard to get to that level, and he just wants to keep at it as long as he can. Interesting that when he does go to the IPL, he gets paid $4 million in the auction, becomes the highest paid player ever. A season later, he says, "Oh no, I'm going home and I'm not coming back. No. I don't like all this." Well,
I think that sort of goes with his career. When I think about the moments of it, I know as great a white ball bowler as he has been, and that amazing first over in the World Cup final in 2015, it's the Test matches that I remember. Yeah. It's the Test matches that I go back to. We were both at the Pune Test match in 2017, Pete, which is one of the great Test matches that I've been to. And Starc is, even though Smith gets the kudos because of the magnificent his magnificent batting on that difficult surface, Starc was kind of, and Steve O'Keefe, of course, takes his 12 wickets. It was Starc getting those runs in the first innings, and we should never underestimate his batting. I've always thought more of his batting than I think even he does.
And his fielding too, great fielder.
Yeah. Great fielder. And, getting off having Pujara caught behind and Virat Kohli caught it slip in that first over. That's one of the great moments
That's
of
right,
theatre.
yeah.
In an incredibly unpromising environment, because it was, the Pune Cricket Stadium is a little bit like Sabina Park. It's not a hell of a lot of atmosphere there, but it was absolutely ignited that game, and and made Australia believe, I think, at that stage that they could fight their way through.
Yeah, I would have liked more notice on one of my favourite moments, because the obvious ones come to mind. I think in that bowling to Brendan McCallum in that 2015 final, he made McCallum look like Sam Constas in the first test. Yeah, McCallum didn't know what to do. He charged him. He would have tried lap sweeping him had he survived long enough and had he been brave enough. But God help you if you did. That was an outstanding piece of bowling, and of course, Rory Burns. I mean, I like the Rory Burns moment because it is so rich in Starc history, because it's the accompanying Warne commentary that calls it a bad delivery down the leg side. I was reminded yesterday when I was was it yesterday? We wrote that piece of the antecedent of that feud. And it was when Warne was parading around the country saying, I could come back and play for Australia when Nathan Lyon's spot was a bit wobbly.
Yes.
And Starc came out and said, Nathan Lyon's out. He basically put Warne back in his box. He had a crack, said, no, Nathan Lyon's our spinner. We don't need anyone else. Basically up yours, Warne. So Warne was offended from there on in. Warne was the one who led that charge, but there are others who said it early doors that he was soft.
That it was weak body language, wasn't it? That I don't think he questioned his stamina or his resilience, but it said that when the game went against him, he looked like there was something to it in the sense that he did look like a guy who was straining constantly, a guy who felt like he had the weight of the world on his shoulders. So there was something to it. I think Warnie expressed it infelicitously, but there was some pressure that Starc placed on himself that maybe
That's a good point.
kept his best performances away. And it wasn't until, as I said in my piece the other day, a little bit of age, a little bit of maturity, a little bit of perspective, a little bit of personal growth enhanced his professional standards. I think you're right, and a lot of that would have been around that middle over bowling. When the ball wasn't swinging, Starc or there wasn't a lot of bounce there. Starc was ineffective, and I do recall kicking at the foot marks and being frustrated by the conditions he found himself in. I thought it was interesting when he spoke yesterday that he acknowledged Mitchell Johnson's influence. So Starc came onto the scene when Johnson and Bollinger, two left armers, were around, but he essentially came into the team with Mitchell Johnson. Yes. And he said he probably didn't know it, but he was a mentor to me. I watched, the way the work he did in the gym, his fitness, all that kind of thing. And that was what I aspired to. They've since had something of a falling out, but, is that Sue calling you now? That's my mum.
Take it.
Okay, it's all good. Yeah, it's all good.
We could have like a hotline.
I wonder if here's a counterfactual for you. 2013-14, Starkey plays the Oval Test match in 2013. He's the fast bowler in the team coming into that 2013-14 Ashes. Johnson's out of the team. What would have happened if Starc had been fit in 2013-14? Would he have played ahead of Johnson? Because they probably wouldn't have played two left armers. I don't know. I love a counterfactual.
You do, don't you?
It would have been interesting. And we wouldn't have had Mitchell Johnson's great summer. Because I've actually got a favourite Starc moment, and it's one that no one ever refers to. And you know how sometimes you see a moment and and no one ever mentions it again. You think, did it actually happen?
Yeah.
Why does no one talk about this? And I guess it's just a scenario. It's the last ball of the 2013 Ashes. Starc is bowling in the dark. You remember, it's that test match at the Oval where Clark declared and set England a session to make 250. and it bloody well looked like they were going to get there, except that the dark closed in and curtailed the Test match. Starc bowled the last over of that game, and off the last ball, Ian Bell, who'd made I think 300s in that series and looked outstanding, smashed a straight drive off him. Starc, following through, put out his foot, stopped the ball, picked it up and threw down the stumps and ran Bell out as he scuttled back to his crease. An absolutely mercurial piece of athleticism. And then the umpires went, "Oh, it's too dark, we're coming off." And no one ever mentioned it again. I just thought that very, very few bowlers in my lifetime would have been elastic enough and coordinated enough to make that piece of bowling and accurate enough to throw the stumps down left-handed. It was a brilliant piece of cricket. I've never even seen a replay of it since, but I remember it like it was yesterday. And, of course, then he doesn't play the 2013-14 Ashes, and it just disappears down the memory hole. You should ask him about that. See if he remembers it. I looked it up. I actually looked up the Crick Info ball by ball before just to check
remember
I was right. And it's true. It was true.
It is true. It did happen, did it?
It is true. Yeah. It is true. But then the lights went out and we all went home. So I don't know. Just a great piece of cricket that I really treasure having seen.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's hopefully it's his 100th Test match at Savannah Park. He might be operating from the Michael Holding end or the Courtney Walsh end. So that's kind of significant, isn't it?
Well, and how appropriate that he should be playing his 100th Test match as we are doing our 100th podcast, Pete, as Cricket et al. I know. You weren't going to mention it, really? We are.
Yeah, but we don't pod for milestones, do we? No, we don't pod for milestones.
It'll be something we think about in retirement.
Yeah, something to look back on, will it? The 100.
Something to look back on. Yeah.
Is it really? I feel like we've done more than that because we did before we transitioned.
We actually did 284 cricket et ceteras. So if you load the two together, if you put the first class Test and the World Series cricket records together, we're at 384.
Imagine that doesn't include all the stillbirths where nobody pushed
the ones where we forgot to turn the recorder on. Yeah, they're the basement tapes. They'll be released as bootlegs.
100th episode. Well, there you go. They said we'd never make it.
Yeah, indeed. We really
did someone say that?
Yeah, I think they did.
Congratulations on your 100th episode, Gideon. Yeah. It's been very enjoyable.
Yeah. Thanks. Should we take a break? We'll come back with a little bit more cricket.
I want you to come back with a party hat on or something.
Okay, no worries. And we're back on Cricket et al. Pete, I guess the other individuals that there'll be a focus on in Jamaica will be the top three, the Australia's rickety top three, or muddling top three, as Stuart Broads called them overnight.
Are we still talking about that? Are we?
Yeah. I think why not? Look, we'll just throw a bit of chum in the water. It was an interesting stat on Crick Info, which I was looking at before, which was averages of top threes in Test cricket around the world since January the 1st, 2024, and Australia's in the bottom half. Just ahead of Zimbabwe, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the West Indies, with 26.97. That tells a tale. So
is that all three? Is that what all three score?
That's all. That's the top threes. Yeah.
What? Did each batter average 26, or are they 3 for 26?
It's the first 3 wickets. The players who have filled the top three have an average of 26.97. Compared to India's 40.03.
Yeah, but
good, aren't they?
Yeah. What about the middle order though? They must have a really good middle order, Australia.
What you lose on the swings, you gain on the roundabouts.
Well, it's been wobbly for a while, hasn't it? David Warner was in decline there for some time. His returns diminished. As you like to point out, Usman's have diminished in the last few years. If you take out that one innings,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something Bob Simpson used to say. You should always take out the outlying performances, the lowest and the highest, because they're not representative. You're interested in sort of modal performances and leaning into trends.
I don't mind that if, and I never see it happen, you take out the poor performances.
Yeah, sure.
You take out the two.
Well, you take out the
golden
you take
ducks.
Out a duck, maybe. Yeah.
All the ducks get taken out because shit happens in cricket, and you work out an average like that.
And I guess shit happens for opening bats too. Sometimes you're not master of your own destiny. But it did. I mean, they have been masters of their own destiny here. I think they have been getting out rather than these have not been flukes. They have, in Constance's case, 2 of his last 3 innings have ended with drag-ons. That's just not a good sign. I mean, if it is a 2-day test, we should maybe come back next week and with a little bit more on this subject after you've had 3 days off in Kingston.
Well, we've all started to look around, haven't we, and see what the plan Bs are. I think I noticed in your copy the other day, you've mentioned. I think 2 of the prime candidates are Callaway and Weatherald, who will play. Yeah. The one-day series is over up in Darwin. That happened very quickly. Yes, Australia won that under the new coach Tim Payne. But there's 2 4-day games to come, and then there's some 4-day games against India as well. I think closer to the real summer, as well as the first class cricket. But Callaway and Weatherald look like the 2 plan Bs. For the Australian at this point, but there's a lot of cricket to play before then. Yeah.
2 players at very different stages. I think Weatherall's got huge talent that he hasn't translated. He always just looks so good. I reckon he's a really easy on the eye player. And he had a kind of a breakout season, an overdue breakout season last year. Change of state, change of environment, change of fortune. I've always kind of liked the look of him. The other thing was
he got 906 runs, Gideon, at an average of 51.32 in the Sheffield Shield last year.
Nice, okay. Yeah. And Callaway seemed to sort it out last year. He was a bit of a fiddler. I think he mucked around with his technique a bit. He was a bit suggestible, but he seemed to kind of to work it out last season. And let's not forget, friend of the pod, Curtis Patterson.
He's there.
A lot of experience at number 3, and likes it, finds it a natural groove. If you wanted to go with specialists for number 3, then Curtis Patterson is I think a good option. Probably played the best cricket of his career last summer after a break.
And what we like, particularly after the experience with young players at the moment, with Weatherald and Patterson, is they've been through it once. Yeah. They've come through fellow years and found a second path, haven't they? Tend to like players like that. Marcus Harris is not completely out of contention either, I'd suggest.
No, fair enough.
But Callaway he was one of the top run scorers last year, wasn't he? 738 runs, according to my notes. But anyway,
You've been doing research.
I have been doing a little bit of research.
Did you go to Divas Presser the other day?
No, I was. I wasn't here. I had an extra. Right. I had an extra day at Grenada. I chained myself to a palm tree. I wasn't going to leave.
To a jerk chicken stand. Fair enough too. But I thought that it was interesting that Diva brought up the precedent of Steve Waugh. 27 test matches before he got his first 100. The key difference is that Steve Waugh came into the team as an all-rounder. That his bowling and his fielding were as much part of the package early on as his batting. And of course, it was after he scored that first 100, those hundreds in the '89 Ashes series, that he got dropped. He actually had a season out, a complete season of Sheffield Shield cricket. Yeah, 1990-91. He wasn't in the Test side. It was Mark Waugh who came in. Yeah. So I don't think there's anything wrong with Sam Constance having a complete season of Sheffield Shield cricket. I mean,
there's no problem with that at all.
If we have any belief in the integrity and the quality of our first class system, then it should not be regarded as a setback or a discouragement that he goes black and plays every game of the Sheffield Shield.
Oh, look, I got no problem with him doing that, but it is a setback when you're a Test player and you go back to Sheffield Shield. That is a backward step.
We keep hearing what a fantastic attitude he's got. You know, what a fantastic character he's got. Well, in that case, if he really does, then he won't accept the demotion as anything other than a productive use of his time.
Very few players haven't. Very few players haven't been sent back to Sheffield Shield.
Sure, but players learning to play Test cricket in Test cricket does seem to me like a bit of an indulgence. Anyway, that's just me. Back to Mitchell Starc. Let's talk about Mitchell Starc again.
No, you want to talk about? Hey, I've got one little story.
I'll go on.
Little story. I've got one little story before Mitchell Starc.
Okay.
I was doom scrolling about America's demise today. Will surprise you here.
Okay.
And I came across this in New York. These ICE agents have basically raided a kid's baseball practice and bailed all the kids up and started asking them questions about their origin. And this heroic bowling coach has stepped in and saved the day. And it's at this joint called...
coach? Or a pitching
batting coach, whatever.
Batting coach. Okay.
Baseball coach. He stepped in, told them to back off. They've threatened to handcuff him, but essentially he saved the day. The kids have gone home. Most of them have refused to return to training. They're so traumatized by the experience. But anyway, it happened. It happened.
I'm waiting for the continuous cricket link.
Guess the cricket link to this.
Okay.
It was at a place, well, you will know. It was at a place called Riverside Park. I thought, I know that place. Oh. That's where Steve Smith did his warm-ups before coming over for the second test. I said, Smith, this is the same place. He said, exactly the same place. Gideon, had they raided 2 weeks before, Steve Smith could be in Alligator Alcatraz.
He could.
Yeah.
Yep.
Could have happened. Okay, move on quickly. Top 10. Yeah.
Well, of course we have to.
Forget I even said that. I shouldn't be making light of such a miserable situation. Poor bastards.
But we had a brainstorm like 5 minutes before we did the pod saying let's come up with a top 10 for Mitchell Starc because we love a top 10. It is our ultimate tribute. And surprisingly, they come readily to mind, don't they, Pete? They come readily to mind.
Yes, in that 5 minute scramble when I'm supposed to be setting up the laptop, not bloody searching for top 10s. Top 10s for Mitchell Starc. Well, I'll be interested with where you've gone. So why don't you kick off?
Okay. Big Black. Great band. Steve Albini's great band. They have a song called Grinder. The man is known by his tools. I earn my keep with my tools. You fools, you fools, you fools, you fools. You will not touch my tools. So it was a reminder of that by his capacity for grinding away on those middle overs and his reference to his tools. So
well, in my piece, that's very good. It kind of continues on those two songs that I had in my piece of him. One was about John Henry, who was the famous railway hammer and anvil guy. And what was the other one? Please don't send me out, said the man with the hammer and the anvil. I've been working in the burning sun.
Hammer song. Yep.
Sensational Alex Harvey, covered by, was it Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds? Or
on the Good Son.
Yeah.
Great
Good
version.
Son, yeah. Pretty good version, yeah. There's been, it's a good song, that. I've gone something pretty obvious. I've gone for a double A side here around the 100th Test match.
Yep.
First, I've gone the Birds 100 years from now. 100 years from now, I think we'll appreciate just how good Mitchell Starc was. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I've gone the Cure's 100 years as well.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's ever written a song about 100 tests, so we'll just go 100 years. Go
on. Endurance, synonymous with the name of Mitchell Starc. He's just come back and back and back. And I know you like this song too. It's another great cover. Staying Alive, covered by Tropical Fuckstorm.
Oh, you know what? They played it 2 weeks ago at the Bowery. When I was at the Bowery. It's a bloody good version. And it was awesome, it was kind of cool to hear it in New York, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Good cover.
Great cover.
I like that. Well, I've gone from the famous left arm bowlers to that famous country singer Lefty Frizzell. If you've got the money, honey, I've got the time. We'll go honky tonkin' and we'll have a good time. You're probably not familiar with the works of Lefty Frizzell, but he's fantastic, Gideon. Very
Anyone
old.
Called Lefty. Anyone called Lefty can bowl left arm over or round. Underappreciated, of course, ever underappreciated, often goes under the radar, thus deserving of Invisible Man by the Breeders.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Great band. Great band.
Yeah. Saw them last year. Fantastic, as good as ever.
Okay, because I've always liked his humour, not necessarily his music. Robbie Williams, Swing When You're Winning.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, because when Mitchell's swinging, we're winning. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good swing songs, aren't they? Swinging, Tom Petty, Swing for the Crime, the Saints. And, of course, often done with the pink ball. You have to have a pink song in there, don't they? Or is it going to be Pretty in Pink by the Psychedelic Furs? Is it going to be Pink Frost by the Chills? No, it's going to be Pink Flag by Wire.
Oh, how did I know
Obviously.
that? Possibly one of your favourite albums of all.
With it? Yeah.
And one of your favourite albums of all time. It sits at the front of one of my milk crates there. It must be.
Does it really? Right.
Yeah, at the front of the W milk crates.
Yep.
Pink. Yep. I've gone with an Australian classic because I think it sums up Mitchell's sort of endurance, his hardworking, his blue collar approach. Shipping Steel by Cold Chisel. Yeah, hammer down on the open road.
Absolutely.
However it goes,
Ever self-deprecating, ever droll. Looks like he doesn't really care about appearances. When I think of Mitchell Starc, I think of the opening lines: "Smile like you've got nothing to prove. No matter what you might do, there's always someone cooler than you." That's Ben Folds, the Ben Folds Five.
Really didn't really pick you as a Ben Folds 5 fan.
They're half a dozen really, really great songs.
I agree. Yeah. A bit like a sort of latter day Joe Jackson, in a way.
Yeah, a bit of that.
Maybe. That's a pretty glib observation there from me.
Yeah.
I was listening to some Joe Jackson the other day. I thought, there's some good stuff there. Right. Yeah. Interesting stuff, yeah.
Yep.
Sort of wimp rock. Yeah.
Everyone likes a bit of wimp rock every now and again.
Yeah. The stuff you
all
play
go through those wimpy phases.
When Sue catches me listening to that stuff, she gets really grumpy. What's this crap?
Put on Tropical Fuckstorm again.
Yeah. She says, no, stick with your wimpy stuff.
Turn that music up.
Very, very important EP in my early musical life by a band you might be familiar with, Gideon, The Models, Cut Lunch. I'm going with Mano Action.
Oh, good one. Yeah.
Today's Mano Action.
Yep.
Yeah. Did it actually appear again on Local and or General, that song?
I think there is an alternative take on.
I think maybe, I think in the American, there's an American pressing of Local and or General that includes a few of the Cut Lunch songs on it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, there you go. That's the top 10.
That's it. Well, we can pay no higher tribute than a top 10 on Cricket et al. So, Mitchell Johnson, you've joined the firmament. You've joined the constellation of greats. That's joining the pantheon, really, isn't it, when you get a Cricket et al.
The top 10. Top 10 dedicated to you. Yeah. We've now gone 43 minutes. The kids, the experts tell me that a podcast should only be 23 minutes long.
All right, okay.
So,
all right. We'll listen to this in 2 installments.
We'll get the hang of it by our 200th.
Now's the moment where we hope that we've turned where we've pressed record.
Do you get a telegram from the King for your 100th episode or something like that? Maybe you get a telegram from, I don't know, Elon Musk or somebody like that.
We didn't.
Joe Rogan. Does Joe Rogan send you an?
Let's remember this is actually episode 384.
Correct.
So we'll reconvene in 16 episodes and celebrate the 400th. I think. That's all we've got time for on Cricket et al. Been great to have you with us. Join us tomorrow for close of play summary for the first day of the Test match. Perhaps we'll be halfway through by then, Pete, if the batter's estimates are anything to go by. But in the meantime, it's goodbye from me.
And it's good night from him.